Wichita State, Illinois State, perennially two of the powers in this conference, although they come into this ball game this afternoon seated 4th and 5th in this tournament. And last year, you might recall, both the Shockers and the Redbirds went to the NCAA tournament. But it's pretty clear if they hope to return, they must win this Valley tournament.
Well, the main reason that these two teams have struggled this year, both teams the same reason, guard play. You know, both coaches, Coach Donowald, Coach Smithson, they've been fluctuating back and forth with starting lineups. They have not been able to make definite decisions on who's going to play in what situation and where, and they're still looking this far along in the season. So I sympathize with them, and I understand them, but that actually is a fact. You know, Wichita, though, I'll tell you something about Wichita State on this floor. They like to play here, and it was 1 year ago when they came in here and won this tournament and went to the NCAA tournament.
Other similarities between these two ball clubs, for example, they both went 14 and 13 in the regular season. They're both basically young teams. We're only going to see one senior total on either roster this afternoon, and it might be a question of who's young players because they both play a lot of freshmen and sophomores in some key roles. Who will have the young players who can respond to tournament pressure? That might be the key.
Well, I think it very definitely is the key, Mark. You know, that response just has to be there. I know it's late in the season, and I understand that these young guys have been playing all year long. This is a little bit different situation now. You've got the Missouri Valley Conference postseason tournament. Every player in this tournament is thinking, and we saw it in the first game with West Texas State, hey, we got a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. And when you feel that way, it just casts a different light. Keep in mind what Mark said. I think it's so important. One senior on both basketball teams. There's only one senior. I'm going to go. I think the team will win the game that has young players respond most effectively to the challenge.
Okay, so keep that in mind. Again, it's the Shockers and the Redbirds. Opening round action in the Missouri Valley Conference postseason tournament. We'll take this time out. Ellen and Bob Ortigal back with you in Tulsa. The Wichita State Shockers and the Illinois State Redbirds about to go at it in opening round action in the Missouri Valley Conference postseason tournament. The Shockers come in with an overall record of 14 and 13. Illinois State an identical 14 and 13 mark in regular season play. In the Valley, though, Illinois State 9 and 7. They come in the number 4 seed. Wichita State 7 and 9. They're the number 5 seed in this tournament. So we're just about ready for the introductions. Let's go to public address announcer Joe Mills.
For Wichita State, a 6'7" junior from New York, New York, number 44, Gus Santos. For Illinois State, a 6'5" sophomore from Peking, Illinois, number 34, Matt Taphorn. At forward for Wichita State, a 6'2" sophomore, number 11, Cedric Coleman. At forward for Illinois State, a 6'6" junior from Chicago, number 35, Derek Sanders. At center for Wichita State, a 6'9" sophomore from Titograd, Yugoslavia, number 45, Sasha Radunovic. At center for Illinois State, a 7-foot junior from Flanagan, Illinois, number 54, Bill Bratzik. At guard for Wichita State, a 6'5" junior from Mount Vernon, New York, number 3, Lou Hill. At guard for Illinois State, a 6'4" sophomore from Indianapolis, number 23, Jeff Harris. At guard for Wichita State, a 6'5" freshman from Columbia, South Carolina, number 22, Dwight Prelo. And at guard for Illinois State, a 6'3" freshman from Fort Wayne, Indiana, number 33, Todd Starks. The coaches for today's game, in his 8th season at Wichita State, Gene Smithson. Also in his 8th season at Illinois State, Bob Donowald. We remind you once again, there's no smoking in the Convention Center Arena.
And we'll be right back with the opening tip right after these local messages.
It's always discussed because of the different kind of people that they are. You know, when Gene was there, he had a couple of nicknames. Radar was one of them, and Clean Gene, and it's an interesting discussion, always is, but I tell you what, both guys, regardless of where they've been, have done well.
Working the ball game this afternoon, Hightower, Mayfield, and Rising, as you saw, 3 officials now here in tournament play as opposed to the 2 we saw in regular season play in the Valley, but we're just about set to go. The 7-footer Braxic wins the tip easily over Radunovich, but the Shockers have the first possession of the afternoon, and Lou Hill missing off the glass, and the rebound. Lou Hill following his shot, and the Shockers lead it early 2-zip.
Mark, I'm going to say it up front. I think that the winner of this basketball game becomes the sleeper in the tournament as far as the championship's concerned.
First, they'll have to deal with Bradley tomorrow night, but first things first. Matt Taphorn. Shockers picking up man-to-man. We'll see plenty of man-to-man from both of these ball clubs, of course. Braxic, very nice. Tied at 2.
I think that's a big basket because Braxic on occasion has struggled a little bit. To get the first one down in a game of this nature has to just help him tremendously.
Radunovich working on Braxic, took it strong inside, missed the shot, ended up on the floor. Todd Starks. Lou Hill picked his pocket, and Matt Taphorn returns the favor and then dribbled the ball out of bounds, so it'll be Shocker ball.
You know, contrary to that first game that we had, you're going to see a little bit more up-tempo here. You're going to see man-to-man defenses out of both teams. Wichita State, we know, will play some zone. Illinois State, primarily a man-to-man team, but you're going to see a little bit quicker tempo, I think, than you saw in the first game.
All tied at 2. We played just a bit more than the opening minute. Santos in the paint, hung in the air. The foul will be on Braxic. That'll be his first.
You know, Mark, I think the matchups are somewhat interesting because I saw Taphorn inside earlier on Santos. There you see Braxic on Santos, and certainly Santos can take the ball to the basket if Braxic is going to come out and take him. And that's something that Wichita State may try to take advantage of.
You see on the season, Gus, a 60% free throw shooter, but less than that, only 55% in Valley play. As the first one, though, fouled in the active shooting, will get another. Gus coming off a disappointing performance back on Saturday afternoon. He had only 7 points in the regular season finale against the Creighton Blue Jays, so he's looking to bounce back off of that. Hit the 2 free throws. Shockers lead it by 2. 18:40 remaining to play. Just getting underway here in Tulsa.
And they stay in the man-to-man defense. The Shockers do.
Taphorn dumped it inside to Braxic now. He'll turn on Radunovich. Good touch, missed the shot. Derek Sanders crashing the offensive glass, and he stepped out of bounds. And it'll be Shocker ball as you look at Bob Donewald resting on his chin. Wichita State now trying to build on a 4-2 lead.
Sanders staying a long ways off of Coleman. He's going to give him anything he wants outside.
Bounce pass inside to Gus Santos, loose on the floor. Coleman right there to pick it up. Shockers lucky to keep possession. Hill on the penetration was fouled well before he got the shot away.
Todd Starks picks up the foul.
First foul on him. So we'll get Lou Hill now at the line for Wichita State, and they do rule it in the active shooting, so he'll get a pair here.
Mark, you get the impression that these two teams are real anxious to play. You can they just sort of jumped into this game right now. I mean, there was a quick tempo. They were up and down the floor, quickly trying to apply offensive pressure.
Second one goes down for Lou Hill. He now has 3 points in the ball game. Shockers lead at 5-2, but as far as being ready to play, you better be, because it's one loss and you're out. This is what it's all about. Outside, Jeff Harris. First 2 for the sophomore out of Indianapolis, who has really caught fire of late for the Redbirds. Starting his 3rd straight ball game. In the previous 2 starts, he scored 14 points in each of those 2 games. He is a bona fide outside threat. Only a sophomore. Lou Hill in the paint for the Shockers. The offensive foul on Lou Hill. His first, and will come the other way. Illinois State ball.
Taphorn was inside again. You see Taphorn right there on Gus Santos. Here's the foul they called against Lou Hill. A charging foul right there.
Harris again from the outside. He is really on a streak.
Young man, just a sophomore. 2 sophomores, 2 freshmen.
The Illinois State people, well, let's get Radunovic taking it inside. Had a good shot, missed it badly off the glass. And it looks like an offensive foul on Sasha Radunovic. You see Gary Cundiff now in the ball game for the Shockers, the 6'2 junior out of Pratt, Kansas. But it is indeed the first foul of the afternoon on Sasha Radunovic. That'll turn it back over to the Redbirds.
Harris for Illinois State playing down low, coming off picks, trying to get the basketball back to those jump shots.
There they tried to get the ball back to him. Braxic wasn't sure. He was in the passing lane. He let the ball go, and it went harmlessly out of bounds. So the Redbirds turn it over.
Starks thought he was going to make a backdoor cut there, and Harris did not continue on through with his movement.
That'll be over the back on Matt Taphorn. Gambled, went for the steal, and lodged. First personal foul on Matt Taphorn.
Wichita State, as you might expect, Mark, really trying to get the basketball inside to Gus Santos, number 44. There it is, right there.
A bounce pass down low to Santos, and just that quickly, 2 fouls on Matt Taphorn, the sophomore out of Pekin, Illinois.
You see, Taphorn has the responsibility of trying to help out. We see the interior feed. Braxic has Santos, but Taphorn is coming across the lane as a help side defensive player to put pressure on that inside player. Illinois State with 4 fouls, Wichita State with 2 to this point in the game.
It was 2-2 just a moment ago, but the 2 quick ones on Taphorn. Now I have Illinois State with 4. Gary Cundiff lost control. Todd Starks right there to pick it up for the Redbirds. Shockers have turned it over for the second time. Inside, Braxic at 7 foot has the advantage over the 6'9 Radunovic. Short on the shot. Sanders had it for the moment, kept it alive for Braxic. And that foul will be on Lou Hill of the Shockers. That's quickly 2 fouls on Mr. Hill.
I'll tell you who's doing a good job on the glass is Derek Sanders, number 35 for Illinois State. He is really battling in there, keeping the ball alive. He kept that one alive. Braxic got it back right there.
Todd Starks on Lou Hill. Gary Cundiff had a hand on it. Harris on the drive, took it baseline, and Cundiff reached in, collects his first foul. So all of a sudden a slew of fouls here in the ball game.
That's pretty good.
Fouls now, even 4 apiece.
Pretty good battle going on right there. You see, there's no question about that foul. Cundiff comes down across the forearm, makes contact with a basketball, but he hammers him right there. And that's not a foul that Gary should commit. He's a better player than that. You've got to play defense with your feet.
Saw Cundiff collapse quickly on Harris, who has already proven he can hit from way outside in this ball game. Taphorn had to go behind his head. Lucky to hang on to it. It'll be Todd Starks from the left wing, and he nailed it.
Pretty good job.
In the afternoon for the freshman out of Fort Wayne.
Good job. Redbirds use the clock well.
Radunovic, baseline. That'll be a push on Braxic. That's his second foul.
And that's the second situation where that's happened. That time he was on Radunovic, and as soon as Braxic picked up Radunovic, he wanted to take the ball to the hole and make the big 7-footer move. That's what Santos did earlier in the game. That may not be a bad approach.
You know, we have played only 4 minutes and 49 seconds. Already 9 fouls called in the game, and that's 10. Jeff Harris collecting his first foul, so he joins the ever-growing club.
We're going to be in the 1-1 by the 12-minute mark of the first half if this keeps up.
On both sides. You're exactly right.
And that will become a very determining factor in the outcome of the game. You know, who will shoot free throws well.
Wichita State, as you might know, the poorest free throw shooting team in the Valley at only 61% as a team. Illinois State at only 65%, well below what they have shot in previous years. Shockers have been stuck on 5 points here for a while, and they stay stuck as Gus Santos took one too many steps. It'll be Illinois State ball when we return. The Redbirds have made the move. They lead it now 8-5. 14:56 left to play in the first half. Back after these local messages. And with the former coach of the Drake Bulldogs alongside Bob Ornigal, Mark Allen, welcoming you back to Tulsa. Illinois State ball, they lead it early, 8-5. Bob, the Shockers have not scored since the 17:54 mark. That makes it nearly 3 minutes.
And been outscored by Illinois State 6-0 in that period of time.
Todd Starks on the drive. Hit a wide open Jeff Harris, and that usually means trouble.
Boy, throwing that ball over the top can be dangerous, but when the defense drops off that far and helps ID, you almost have to do that. And when you got a kid like Harris who can shoot the ball so well, it becomes very effective for you.
Todd Starks, nearly the steal. Good hustle, but it will be Shocker ball. Jeff Harris, by the way, now has 6 of the 10 Redbird points. As you look at Bob Donewald, a sip of water along the sideline. Shockers keep it.
Illinois State dominating the game right now with hustle.
The Redbird advantage is 5. They lead at 10-5. Inside, Santos up over Braxic.
It's good execution that time, trying to get the basketball inside. They got it right where they want it with good perimeter passing, and then the interior feed, and Santos handled it very well.
4 points for Santos. Braxic in and out. That ball nearly went down. Well, we might tell you up overhead we have a problem with the scoreboard clock, so you'll have to understand if we don't give you the time remaining, we may have to keep it here on the bench. Lou Hill. That basket ought to count. Now, I can tell you for a fact we do not have 3:35 left in the half. We have an offensive foul on Lou Hill. Third foul on Lou Hill.
I'm not sure everybody's picked it up yet. Yeah, they are. They're checking it out right now.
And no basket.
Called the charge prior to the time the ball had been released, which means that the basket does not count.
Clint Normore has checked into the ball game for the Shockers. Normore, the 6'1 sophomore out of Wichita, replacing Lou Hill, who's out of the ball game with 3 fouls. Curtis Bailey, number 12, a forward, also in the ball game for the Shockers. And now an offensive foul down at the other end. This one on Matt Taphorn. And that'll be his third.
That's his third foul very, very early. With 13.5 minutes left in the first half, Taphorn, out of Pekin High School, has picked up his third foul. He'll have to come out of the ball game.
Taphorn making his exit. Number 45 is in to replace him. That's Tony Hollifield, a 6'7 sophomore out of Oak Park, Michigan. So already, foul trouble has cost each team a key player here in the still early moments of the first half. Radunovic shuffled his feet, a good call.
Well, there's a lot of defensive pressure in there by the Redbirds. They did an excellent job of dropping to the point of the ball. There were 4 people around the basketball. We saw that same thing in this game that was played a couple of weeks ago when the Shockers were at Illinois State. The Redbirds like to do that, and they do it well.
Already 6 turnovers on the Wichita State Shockers. The Redbirds have the basketball. They continue to lead at 10-7. Clock now showing 13 minutes. Remaining to play in the half, and we believe that's correct as they reset it. Look at Gary Cundiff right on Harris, well away from the basket. Harris, though, still penetrated, airballed it, and Radunovic.
That's not the shot. That's not the shot that Coach Donewald wanted, Mark. I'll promise you that. I'm surprised Radunovic didn't take him one-on-one there.
That was a good save by Starks.
A great effort by Starks.
Shockers, though, keep possession, and Radunovic nailed it from deep in the left corner. First 2 of the afternoon for the sophomore out of Titograd, Yugoslavia. Now, once again, it's a 1-point ball game. Eric Sanders outside. Too strong. Ball loose on the floor. Cundiff right there to claim it for the Shockers. Now Wichita State an opportunity to regain the lead. It's really been a game of streaks. One side, then the other, just teeter-tottering back and forth. Good patience this time for the Shockers.
What about
inside?
Yeah, they got about 15 seconds. That's the place you want to go with it.
They finally get it into Radunovic. His tip is good.
You got to like that effort. Pretty good defensive job by Illinois State on the initial shot, but Radunovic just out-hustled everybody in the area to get the ball back up off the glass and in. He's a tough kid.
I'll tell you, there's several of them out there right now. When you turn inside, you better be ready to take a couple of bumps. Here's Sanders outside. Short. He was strong on the last one.
Blaksick really dragging out there. He needs a breather.
Clint Normore. Got the bounce. Bounced twice off the rim before finally going down. First two of the afternoon for him, and now the Shockers have put together a streak of their own to regain a 13-10 advantage with 10:44 remaining to play and a half. Now Cundiff, this steal. He'll race Sanders down the floor. The foul on Sanders, his first, and we'll have Cundiff at the line.
Good job by Cundiff for taking the ball to the hole, protecting the basketball. He keeps it away from the defensive man. Sanders tries to come over the top and get a piece of the ball, but does commit the foul.
A couple of subs in the ball game. First for the Redbirds, number 25, William Anderson has checked in, the 5'11 senior guard, and number 32, Cliff Peterson, a 6'8 sophomore forward. And for the Shockers, number 20, Steve Grayer now in the ball game. As Bob mentioned, Bill Braxick has now checked out of the ball game.
He was really dragging. I don't know whether he has the flu or a cold or something. He must have, because you can bet that he's not in bad shape this far along in the season. William Anderson, number 25, in for Illinois State. We alluded at the top of the show, the only senior on either team, which tells you a little bit about the future for Wichita State and Illinois State.
Gary Cundiff, both free throws. And now we'll get Dwight Prelo as well in the ball game for the Shockers. Dwight, the 6'5 freshman out of Columbia, South Carolina. AC Flora High School there. Same high school that produced Xavier McDaniel.
And he was a pretty good player.
That's what I understand. Still is, of course, for the Seattle Supersonics.
He's just a great one, that guy is.
First, both of these ball clubs lost a lot of talent off their teams of a year ago. The Shockers losing McDaniel and Sherrod primarily. Illinois State lost 4 seniors, including their top 4 scorers, but guys like Cliff Peterson are trying to pick up the slack. First 2 for him. Steve Grayer needing to move the ball. Curtis Bailey, who has played very well of late off the bench for the Shockers, had 12 points Saturday against the Creighton Blue Jays. Grayer, the inside move, hit the deck, no good, ball loose. William Anderson, the flip. Ball loose at midcourt, look at this. Jeff Harris. Blocked, oh, and Curtis Bailey took a tumble.
Things are a little ragged out there and a little rough.
Dwight Prelo holding his head. Boy, let's hope everybody's okay.
Look at the contact here. Look at the action, folks. It's not over yet. Wait till you see this contact right here. Harris to the hole, number 23 with the ball, goes up.
Watch Bailey. Goodbye. They're chopping down a tree.
Holy cow. Don't tell me this game's not important to those young men. They're playing their hearts out there. That's what you like to see. If you can't give the effort, you ought to sit down.
A good one so far. Shockers by 1. 9:32 remaining to play, first half. Remaining to play here in the first half of this one. Opening round action in the Valley Tournament. The Shockers leading the Redbirds 15-14. Shocker ball. We'll remind you, National Car Rental is the official car rental agency for the Missouri Valley Game of the Week crew. We enjoy the national attention we get and would recommend National Car Rental to you because you deserve national attention. Wichita State trying to build on this 15-14 lead of theirs. Inside Santos. Boy, you really draw a crowd inside, don't you?
Oh, and it is physical. It continues to be a physical game. Wichita State now has taken 11 shots from the field and made 6 of them. Illinois State 7 out of 13 for 53.8%. Wichita State 5 out of 6 from the line. The Redbirds haven't shot a free throw.
Santos now with 6 points. You saw a moment ago Jeff Harris 3 for 3 from the field, all from very long range. Again, number 23 on the white. Keep an eye on him. They feel he's the heir apparent to Brad Duncan, a name you might recall, especially those of you watching in Peoria, of course, and in the Bloomington Normal area. Duncan, the long-range bomber of the past couple of years for the Redbirds. Contact there. And the first foul on Clint Normore.
Fans are hollering, let him play, Mark. If they let him play anymore, someone's going to need a helmet out there.
And just as Harris was about to inbound, we get the horn and Radunovic checking back into the ball game for the Shockers, replacing Curtis Bailey.
I think this game will not favor Bailey quite as much as other games because of the physicalness with which Illinois State plays.
Curtis has begun to play more inside, but this is a different brand of ball here this afternoon. Very physical inside. Harris on the drive. Good ball fake. Drew the foul.
Yes, he did. He did a good job of drawing the foul because he leaned in and going up for the shot.
First foul on Gus.
We'll see it right here. He makes the penetration on the right side of the basket. He comes up with a basketball right here. He leans in right there. When you get the man up, you want to do just exactly what he did. Made the ball fake. Defensive man left the floor. And the offensive player needs to get rid of the ball. There's Harris, the young man that executed that principle so well.
Illinois State at the line for the first time this afternoon, and Jeff Harris knocks it down. As good a shooter as he is from the field. Equally good from the line, 83% on the season as he nailed them both there. 8 points off the bench for the sophomore from Indianapolis. That has now sparked Illinois State to a 17-16 advantage. I'm sorry, the Shockers lead at 17-16. Greer, too strong off the glass, and it'll be Redbird ball.
Woody Mayfield, one of the officials, and Bob Donewald, the outstanding coach from Illinois State, having quite a conversation the last time down the floor. Something Coach Donewald did not like.
We mentioned earlier the Shockers are the defending tournament champs. We saw their Illinois State has also won this tournament recently. Outside Derek Sanders too strong, and Hollifield climbing the back, collecting his first foul.
Not a good move by Hollifield. He really tried to reach over the top of Radunovic, and you can't do that with a player that's as big and as strong as Radunovic is. Anytime you reach over like that, you see it right here. He tries to come over the top. There's Radunovic, number 45, and makes the contact.
At the line for now for the Shockers, their best free throw shooter this season, particularly in the last 8 games, as you see. And of course, anytime you praise a guy's free throw shooting, he's bound to miss one. That's a foul on Steve Greer. First foul on Greer. Oh, correction. They've got it on Normore. So that'll be Clint's second foul.
Not easy to keep up with all these fouls here in the first half, Mark.
I sharpened my pencil already. Down at the other end, both teams now in the bonus. Tony Hollifield.
It was not on the mark. It was a little off the right, but kind of the way you shoot a mark. It bounced on the rim, hit the glass, and fell in. That's all that counts.
It's like one of my old putts. Kind of rims the cup a few times. As long as they go down, that's all that matters. Hollifield well short on the second one. Hollifield, one of those rare players who percentage-wise shoots the ball better from the field than he does from the line. Derek Sanders shuffled his feet.
That young man's had a tough first half. He's not played well for Illinois State here this afternoon. He's got plenty of time to change that, and I don't think there's any question about his skills, but he just has not played well the first 13 minutes of this basketball game.
Turnovers now even at 7 apiece, and you saw Curtis Bailey check back into the ball game for the Shockers.
For the season, Wichita State averaging 15 turnovers.
That also ranks them first in the Valley in that category as far as most turnovers per game. And Radunovich there took it inside, double team, and coughed it up. Jeff Harris now looking inside. Anderson reversing the ball. Way outside for the senior, and he nailed it.
Boy, and I mean, he didn't shoot that from outside. He shot it from outdoors.
There's two for William Anderson, who has really been a different player the second half of the season. He got off to such a slow start. That will be a jump ball as Jeff Harris reached in and tied up Radunovich, and Radunovich kind of popped him in the chin.
He won't do that again. I'll tell you, he really took a shoulder. It was not an elbow. I believe it was a shoulder.
Clean play, though. Radunovich simply trying to keep possession of the ball.
Look at it here. No, it was an elbow. And I mean, and not an intentional elbow. He was simply trying to pull the ball away, but there was some good contact made there. And again at the other end of the floor.
Well, the whistles are getting a workout. It's a good thing we've got 3 officials.
Some guy just hollered over my shoulder, "I give up, first down."
That's the 3rd foul on Clint Normore. So that's going to cost him some playing time as Gene Smithson, having to go back to his bench, has Cedric Coleman back in the ball game for the Shockers.
3rd foul, and Normore did not start the basketball game. Here comes the big freshman coming in. Look at Wichita State, 2 guys with 3 fouls. Illinois State, Taphorn with 3 fouls.
Big freshman. Bob referring to number 54, Ted Williams there. 6'10", out of Chester, Pennsylvania. Has not played much recently, though. Gene Smithson feeling he needs to get some big bodies in the ball game to counter these Redbirds inside. At the line, it's Derek Sanders looking for his first point of the afternoon, and there it is. Just recently, within the last day or two, named a 2nd-team All-Valley selection this season. Leads the Redbirds in scoring and rebounding. Sanders with the 2 free throws. Now the Redbird advantage is once again 4 with 6:55 remaining to play here in the first half. Again, the winner of this one plays Bradley tomorrow evening in the semifinals at 6:30. And the pot of gold at the end of this rainbow. You win 3, you get the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Williams tied up inside and fouled by Derek Sanders. His 2nd foul, and he really has struggled this half. You're right, Bob.
Yeah, he's not played well. He's a better player than he's shown here. But, you know, one thing about good players is as long as they continue to make the effort, they'll come out of that real quick. It's when you don't make the effort that things don't go your way.
Teddy Williams, just in the ball game, will get an early trip to the free throw line. Rattled that one in.
I still feel that this young man's got a chance to be a very good player in the Missouri Valley Conference. He's got pretty good basketball skills. He's received some valuable experience this year as a freshman. Good release, shoots the ball well.
Shockers really counting on Ted Williams for the future. And, of course, Illinois State has a couple of fine young ones who are redshirting this season in DeCrane and Jay Teagle. Who should be good players if they can get healthy. William Anderson.
They're going to play that zone. Wichita State's going to have to know where Anderson is because he has such great range.
Over his last 10 ball games, William Anderson, a 56% field goal shooter, showing you why that contact away from the ball. They've got it on Curtis Bailey, his first foul. And I'll tell you, if you don't have a foul, you don't belong on the floor in this game.
Bailey trying to draw a charging foul.
Steve Grayer back in the ball game for the Shockers. Curtis will take a seat. And what do you know? We're shooting more free throws. Tony Hollifield up there for the Redbirds. 1 of 2 so far this afternoon. Missing the front end, but he may get another chance. Appears we have a lane violation, and we do. Ted Williams snuck in there a bit early. So new life for Tony Hollifield. We mentioned only a 47% free throw shooter, and he shoots 54% from the field.
Well, that's a break for Illinois State to get the ball back. To get the ball back to shoot the front end of a 1-and-1 all over again as a result of the lane violation.
We mentioned Hollifield from Oak Park, Michigan, but he was born and raised in Decatur, Illinois, not too far from Bloomington Normal, and of course I'm sure that affected his decision as to where he would play his college ball. Missed the second one, however. Now Gary Cundiff will push it across the timeline for the Shockers. The Illinois State lead 5. 6 minutes exactly remaining to play here in the first half. Santos strong inside, no good off the glass. Williams in there, forcing the offensive glass. He's got 4.
Not a good shot by Santos. He forced it a little bit, but Williams was there with an excellent offensive rebound and right back up with it. See, that's an impressive play for a freshman player like that.
William Anderson, he's been hot of late. Missing this time. 2 Shockers fighting for the rebound. These 2 ball clubs meeting here this afternoon only for the 11th time. Illinois State leading the overall series 6-4. The 2 previous games this season, they scored.
Oh, great job.
What a pass on the baseline.
I mean,
Steve Rare.
Good pass to Williams inside. He turned to shoot the ball, and that's what you're supposed to do. You don't turn and jump to pass. You never jump to pass because you can't commit to the shot then. You jump to shoot the ball, and then if you want to adjust to the pass, you can do it.
You know, that's only the 2nd assist this season for Ted Williams. The players have kind of been on him for that. Refreshing to see Ted looking for something other than the shot.
He made such a great play at the other end of the floor, and then he comes down to the defensive end of the floor and commits a fundamental mistake. You got to move over to the baseline and take the charge. You got to get in front. You can't beat the man there. For heaven's sakes, don't put him at the free throw line.
That is exactly what Ted Williams has done to Jeff Harris, and there he is.
Coach Smithson pacing the sideline, happy with what he saw at the other end, unhappy with what he saw at this end. That happens with young teams, folks. All you got to do is you just can't do anything but live through that. Hopefully players will live and learn from things like that and not just live. And that's a pretty good model for life, really. You need to learn from those things you do wrong. Live and learn, don't just live.
Jeff Harris is perfect from both the field and the free throw line. He now has 10 points, and he's a big part of the reason why the Redbirds lead it. 26-23 with 4:52 remaining to play here in the first half. Back in a minute. Back in Tulsa, the Illinois State lead is 3 with 4:52 remaining to play here in the first half of this one. The Illinois State cheerleaders, as you see, made the trip. I mentioned the 2 ball clubs meeting here this afternoon for the 11th time. You see the overall series. And the 2 previous meetings, really ironic for each one to win on the other's home floor.
It really is. I'll tell you, this game here today is no place for the timid. Very competitive basketball game, and you have to like the aggressiveness of both teams.
You know, I've seen most of those 10 previous meetings between these 2. I've never seen a bad one. Always a good college basketball game. There we get the foul on Wichita State's Gus Santos.
William Anderson thought that foul might have been called on him.
Second foul on Santos. He's over talking it over with Gene Smithson. You see at the bottom of your screen. Gene, I'm sure, reminding him, hey, I've got enough foul trouble as it is. It'll be William Anderson at the line for Illinois State, and that's good news for the Redbirds. He is a 91% free throw shooter on this season, has hit 21 of his last 22. Now 22 of 23, 5 points for this senior out of Indianapolis. William Anderson is in some pretty select company. He is looking this season for his 4th trip to the NCAA tournament. He's already made 3 as a freshman, sophomore, and junior. Not too many college basketball players in this country can say that, Bob.
A lot of fond memories for him. He'll have those to cherish the rest of his life. Grayer trying to take Sanders there one-on-one. Pretty good defensive job by Illinois State on this series. They're a good defensive team every time down the floor. They really are. They do a good job.
Eddie Williams inside, airballed it. Received the ball in good position. Cedric Coleman stayed with it. Missed it off the floor, and William Anderson claims it for the Redbirds. A couple of good shots for the Shockers. Wouldn't come down.
Yeah, they had a great chance to close the gap right there.
And a reminder, we'll name the Pizza Hut player of the game following this afternoon's contest. And Derek Sanders showing signs he may be coming out of it. 4 points for the junior out of Chicago.
Well, we talked about it earlier. Those good players just keep plugging along. They'd like to use Williams down low inside.
Here he comes in. Right wing short. William Anderson. A good rebound and led Jeff Harris a bit too much. That ball will go out of bounds and back to the Shockers. So an opportunity here now for Wichita State to cut the Redbird advantage back down to 5. Illinois State has turned it over now for the 9th time. We'll get Radunovich back in the ball game for the Shockers, replacing Teddy Williams. You know, Beechwood's restaurant at the Tulsa Marriott Hotel features brunch every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Belgian waffles, fresh fruit, pastries, and pies, all for only $4.95. Brunch at the Beechwood's restaurant, Sundays, 10 to 2. And I've had that, and it's very good. Inside, Santos off the glass.
Very good job. He used his body well inside. We had the good pass in there.
Gus Santos now 8 points. Back down on the other end, Cedric Coleman collecting his first foul. So he joins the ever-growing club. It'll be one in the bonus now for the Redbirds.
Coleman extended the defense, tried to put some real good pressure on. Look at the foul situation. Wichita State with 13 mark. Illinois State with 10, 23 fouls. We've got 3 minutes to play in the first half.
Well, it's a good thing if you don't, they don't give you the double bonus after 14 fouls. They give you the bonus after 7. Anderson now with 7 points. Again, a tremendous free throw shooter. 3 of 3 as he stands there right now in the afternoon. Now 4 of 4.
You certainly want to put any other Illinois State player on the free throw line if you have to foul someone other than Anderson. A 90% free throw shooter.
2:45 remaining to play here in the first half. Time winding down.
Grayer almost forced it inside to Radunovich that time.
Santos from 14 short. Hollifield claims the loose one off the floor. Man-to-man defense throughout the first half. Tony Hollifield.
You see, what made that happen was knowing that William Anderson's such a fine shooter, they had to come out on the floor after him. And when the defensive man went that far out on the floor to pick up Anderson, it created a greater area to get the ball inside. And Anderson responded very well, very quickly, made that interior feed, and Hollifield just wheeled and stuck the ball.
Gene Smithson calling that timeout, and we'll keep it right here. You see Gene talking to his ball club. 2:10 remaining in the first half. We mentioned how this has kind of been a game of spurts, one then the other. Illinois State, this is, as far as timing, a good time for them to pull away, leading by 9 this late in the half.
Well, and I think that the timeout was an excellent one by Coach Smithson, even though there's only 2:10 left in the half, because this kind of finish in the first half can carry over into the second half, Mark, and he does not want that to happen. He wants right now with this ball possession, more than anything, to get a really good shot. Certainly, if you get good shots, you're going to shoot a better percentage, and that's what he wants right now. He does not want to see this Illinois State lead go from 9 to 11 should Wichita not score with this ball possession. So I think it's a crucial ball possession. If Illinois State gets it back, you watch them run a lot of time off the clock to get a good shot with only a couple of minutes left in the half.
During that timeout, you had a good look at both Gene Smithson and Bob Donewall, and you're talking about a lot of coaching success reflected in those two men. As a matter of fact, they entered the season as 2 of only 29 Division I coaches who have averaged 20 wins a season in their careers coming into this year. Quite a testament to have 2 like that going head-to-head here this afternoon.
Yeah, it really is. Both guys have done a good job wherever they've been, and it not only speaks well for them, it speaks well for their respective schools and programs.
Inside, Santos put it on the floor, turned and missed. Radunovic had it for a moment. Tony Hollifield took it away for the Redbirds.
Hey, the ball is not bouncing Wichita State's way. Illinois State a little sharper.
Hollifield fading away. Tough shot, and he nailed it.
And they're gaining in confidence. You can see that. Illinois State has gained some confidence here in the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Tony Hollifield there showing you why at this point in his career he ranks as the leader field goal percentage in Illinois State basketball history. That foul down on the baseline.
We see Santos with the basketball right here. Radunovic, 45, working hard inside. Got pushed by Hollifield when he went up. He had his hands in the small of the back, and when you do that, it's easy to see. When your hands are in close and you extend your arms, whether or not you push is not a factor because it looks like you do, and officials are going to anticipate at that point when they see the extension of the arm and call a foul.
Radunovic now, 5 points. That last foul, by the way, was the second on Tony Hollifield. Number 53, John Pemberton, a 6'9" freshman, has checked into the ball game for the Redbirds.
A couple of must free throws, I think, for Wichita State. And Radunovic gets them both.
Rolled them in. A 77% free throw shooter in Valley play is Radunovic. That only has the Shockers back within 9. Illinois State basketball, they lead it 36-27 with exactly 1 minute to play here in the first half.
Wichita State all over the floor, man-to-man, really trying to pressure that Redbird offense and force it out on the floor.
Inside, Tony Hollifield, great position, ended up with a wide-open layup.
What happens when you do that and everybody's uptight is it takes away the help side. You can play that way defensively, but help side people must still collapse inside. There was no help there.
Radunovic, ball faking, might have shuffled his feet. We get a whistle, but it'll be a foul on Illinois State.
Radunovic very physical inside, really trying to dominate that 6'9", 220-pound John Pemberton, just a freshman, number 53. Look at it right here. There's Radunovic. Pemberton drawing the foul. A lot of people playing here in the first half as a result of the number of fouls being committed.
The foul on Pemberton was only his first. Radunovic back at the line, shooting 2 this time, foul in the act of shooting. 7 points for Sasha, who has been in the United States only since August. And has slowly but surely begun to adapt to the American game. 8 points now for him.
Boy, he's had 4 free throws here in the last minute that really helped his ball club.
They've kept the Shockers at least within striking distance, but Illinois State playing very well here down the stretch in the first half. Leads it by 9. Only 15 seconds to go. The shot clock is off. Now 8 seconds left in the half. And we get an offensive foul, so the Shockers will get the last crack with 7 seconds to play.
You see Coach Donewald there. He just looked up into the air. That's a foul that you just do not want to commit. Wichita State now with a chance. 7 seconds to get a shot off. Illinois State will extend and put some pressure on the ball so that it takes longer to get it down the floor.
Curtis Bailey off the glass. He hit it at the buzzer.
That proves just how important that turnover, that charging foul at the other end of the floor was. That becomes just crucial. That helps Illinois, helps Wichita State so much going to the locker room off of that basket.
The foul by Cliff Peterson allowed the Shockers the last possession. They cash it in at the buzzer. Our halftime score, Illinois State leads it by 7. Back to talk it over after these local messages.
It's wild and crazy days at Payless Furniture.
Wichita, let's get serious about buying furniture. We'll do anything to set sales records. Anything. This beautiful three-piece living room, now only $3.99. Incliner sectionals, now only $5.
To grow in confidence, I felt that William Anderson off the bench had an impact on what happened in the first half. Not only did he hit a couple of shots outside, but he went to the free throw line and hit 4 and did a pretty good job with the basketball as well as playing well at the defensive end of the floor. I think if there was a turning point, it was his insertion into the game.
You mentioned how physical the play was in the first half, and it certainly was, and that accounted for just an unusually high amount of whistles and fouls in the first half. Does that play to anyone's advantage, the physical nature of the ball game we're seeing here this afternoon?
I would be of the opinion that I would think that would favor Wichita State more than Illinois State. Now, it didn't, the score does not reflect that right now, but certainly I think Wichita State a little bit more bulk, a little bit more weight, maybe a little bit more strength. I think more of a finesse team. Illinois State certainly more of a finesse team. We see that great pass by Williams inside, down low. And I'll tell you, to get the basketball in there like that and wheel under control to shoot the ball and pick up an open teammate and drop the ball to him is just a very, very encouraging sign when that young man doing it's just a freshman.
Would you agree that some of the keys to keep an eye on for the second half, first of all, who can continue to get the job done inside and who stays out of foul trouble? That really could be the story of the game.
Well, I think very definitely, we've got several people with 3 fouls, and that's a real key. I think Taphorn going out early hurt Illinois State very definitely. Wichita State has people in foul trouble, so that will be a determining factor. I look for the tempo, possibly to slow down just a little bit. Maybe use more of the shot clock, be a little bit more selective with the basketball in terms of taking shots.
All right, again, our halftime score here, Illinois State leading Wichita State 38-31. We'll take this time out. We're coming right back, though, with a special interview, so keep it right here.
Every time you call...
At the Tulsa Convention Center Arena, and he has a special guest, the coach, who could well be in the catbird seat in this tournament, Dick Versace. So let's go to Wayne Larrabee.
All right, thank you, Mark Allen, and the marvelous suite up here at, I guess, Tournament Control, Tournament Central, high above the Tulsa Convention Center. We're with Dick Versace. And Dick, first off, your impressions of the first half. I know you didn't see all of it, of the Illinois State-Wichita State game.
The parts that I saw, I'm seeing a very physical game. The officials are consistently letting them play. It's consistent on both ends, Wayne. And that should work, I think, in Illinois State's favor. They do a lot of chesting, a lot of hipping, and it's all part of the way they play. And they're very, very good at it. It's Bobby Knight-style defense, and I think it's going to take its toll in the second half if they're allowed to play like that.
Dick, your ball club, you had some great games this year with Illinois State. What problems do they present to you? Is it the physical nature of their game?
I think that Bob Donewall has always done a great job of teaching defense. He's from the Bobby Knight School, and it's a carbon copy of what you see at Indiana. And his kids work real hard. They're very physical. They get his techniques down. They're very good help and recover, very good help side. They double team your low post person all the time. And so you've got to be patient to break them down, and you got to mentally, be tough to play Illinois State. Over the years, Bob has done very well with that style of defense, and that's all they play.
Let's talk a little bit about Wichita State. Now, the Shockers have to come back if they are to win this game, but should they get into the next round against you, what problems do they present for the Bradley Braves?
Well, they're a similar team because they seem to be committed to man-to-man. I think offensively they're a little bigger inside than Illinois State is, depending on whether they play Braxic or not. I think that Illinois State guards us and plays defense on us better than I think Wichita does. Wichita is still a very young team. Gene's playing a lot of freshmen, a lot of young kids out there.
Dick, I wanted to talk to you about one of the players for Bradley that doesn't get a whole lot of ink, and I was really amazed to read in the press notes that this kid has gotten 100 rebounds, scored 100 points, dished out 100 assists. His name is Trevor Trippy. He scored just 2 points in the first game, but he did get something like 6 rebounds and had 3 assists. Tell me about this kid and what type of a player he is and what role he fills on your team.
He's a very special player from the standpoint that he takes the back seat, the unsung heroes role. He's the kind of kid that does so many things for your team, Wayne, that doesn't show up in the statistics the following day. He sets a good screen. He knows how to free Hersey Hawkins. He's an excellent position rebounder. He's not a great jumper. He's a left-hander. He's got a very fine outside shot. But, I mean, he will let Jimmy and Hawk and Lenny take the bulk of them, and yet he can shoot the ball very well. He's an excellent passer, and he can play guard and handles the ball for us. He's the guy that made that key pass to Hawkins on the backdoor play to pretty much ice it.
West Texas State gave you a run in the first game. Is that something you'd like to see early in the tournament to kind of wake up your kids? Although your team at 29-1 going in didn't need much waking up.
Well, you know, I think that Orlando Graham's absence psychologically affected us. I think that we would have played a little bit more with more tenacity had he been in the lineup. We just kind of felt, well, we can do it, and then it was kind of quiet here too. So I think there was a combination of factors, and Donald, one of my starters, you know, he's home and his family was here, and he didn't get untracked very, very well. But I thought that Greg Jones came in, did a nice job for him.
That certainly did. Dick, listen, congratulations on the win today. Best of luck. We'll be talking to you this week.
Thank you, Wayne.
Okay, stay tuned. We'll be back with more halftime activities from Tulsa after these messages from your local station.
Again, but I think once we get Jerry back, you know, I think Jerry played.
Mark Allen and Bob Ortigo welcoming you back to the Tulsa Convention Center Arena. Downtown Tulsa, the Redbirds lead it here by 7 at the half, and when you shoot 62% from the field, you'd hope you'd lead the ball game. And a lot of those, you know, you think of Illinois State in years past pounding the ball inside. A lot of that 62% has come from way outside.
Well, they have shot the ball well outside, Mark. You're exactly right. And look at the free throw shooting for both teams. Just an excellent job at the free throw line. 11 out of 13 for 84% for Wichita State. 12 out of 14 for the Redbirds, 85.7%. Rebounds, pretty close, 11 for the Shockers, 13 for the Redbirds. Turnovers, too many for both teams. 10 for Wichita State, 12 for Illinois State, but that's a result of the fact that it's been so very, very physical. Fouls, unbelievable. 26 fouls in the first half, 13 on each team. I might mention that Coach Donewald walked out on the floor and walked directly to the officials. I think wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that the game has been so very, very physical.
First for the visitor in the ball game, the Wichita State Shockers. Pretty good balance. A lot of guys in the scoring column. Radunovic and Santos leading the way with 8 apiece, and just as importantly, run down those fouls.
Well, that's a lot of fouls, as we talked about. Normler with 3 and Hill with 3. Both those guys in foul trouble, and if Santos were to pick up a quick one, which he has been known to do throughout the year, he would have 3. So I think that becomes a determining factor as far as Wichita State is concerned. You look at
Illinois State, Jeff Harris, what a job off the bench. 12 points. He's the leading scorer in the ball game right now. Anderson with 8, also off the bench. Hollifield also came off the bench with 8. So the 3 leading scorers for the Redbirds did it off Bob Donewald's bench.
Well, they really did get some excellent output shooting the basketball outside from Anderson and Harris primarily. And it'll be interesting to see what Wichita State does here in the second half. They're going to have problems playing a zone, obviously, against Illinois State because of the outside shooting. And we talked about Anderson's performance in the first half, and I'll tell you what it's done, folks. It's earned him a starting assignment here in the second half. There's the story right there, Mark.
The number 4, number 5 seeds meeting in this ball game. The winner, as you see, will play the winner of Bradley in the upper bracket in the early game tomorrow night. Still to come this evening, Drake and Creighton and the hometown Tulsa Golden Hurricane will take on the Sycamores in the nightcap. Win 3 and you're NCAA bound. We're just about set to go with second half action. It'll be Shocker ball to begin the second half of play. Gene Smithson going with a few of his original starters, and I see Curtis Bailey is in the ball game, and Gary Cundiff as well, who did not start the game. Also in there, Radunovic, Lou Hill, and Gus Santos. Outside, Curtis Bailey. Off the mark, the tip no good for Santos. He hit the deck. Peterson the rebound.
We're picking up right where we left off. Santos went hard to the offensive glass. Ended up on the floor. I think what Coach Versace had to say at halftime was interesting about Illinois State employing so many of the tactics that you see at Indiana in terms of defense, with a lot of chesting and a lot of hipping.
And a lot of Jeff Harris.
Boy, I guess. There's that outside shot again.
14 points for Harris, and a correction, of course, he did start the ball game, but what a job he has done. Radunovich the ball fake. Off the glass, not quite. Santos fouled by Jeff Harris.
Good job by Santos. That's the second time with both trips down the floor offensively for Wichita State that he has gone to the board very, very well. Look at him right here. Ball is up and off, and there's Santos going after the basketball.
Well, I have Harris for 2 fouls, and the scoreboard showed him with 2. But on the official halftime stats, they had him with 2 at halftime. So we need to check if that's his second or third foul on Jeff Harris. Meanwhile, on the outside, Lou Hill no good. Ball tipped out of bounds. The Shockers will keep it.
Good break for the Shockers. They get it back that time. It was not a real good shot by Lou Hill. Want to be a little bit more patient with your movement.
Now, clarification now, that was only 2 fouls on Jeff Harris. That's important for you Illinois State fans. And you Shocker fans as well.
You get a good look at that man-to-man defense that Illinois State loves to play. Watch them inside when the ball goes in there. Look at them come down on the basketball. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Watch them come down on the ball again. And make it tough to do anything in there with it.
Yeah, it makes giving it up seem like a real good idea. Lou Hill, count the 2, and he was fouled in the play.
Now, there's something you can do against it. When you put the ball inside and the defense collapses on the ball like that, Mark, go to the basket and get the ball back. That's one thing that you can do. The other thing you can do is when you put it inside, don't stay where you are. Put the ball inside. When Illinois State comes down on it hard, you need to move over to your right or left and create a new passing angle so that defensive man does not know where you are. Get the ball back for the jump shot.
Lou Hill, only a 51% free throw shooter in Valley play. 65, though, overall. Got the three-point play, as you saw. The Shockers trying to creep back into this one. They now trail by 6 with 18:05 remaining to play in the second half.
And there's no way they want to play that zone against that outside shooting of Anderson and Harris. So you see Wichita State in an uptight man-to-man D.
William Anderson rattled it in from 15 feet.
Not bad defense by Cundiff.
Double figures for Anderson now with 10. Again, William Anderson, the only senior on either ball club. You'll see a lot of these faces again next year for both ball clubs. Gary Cundiff trying to answer outside. He's short. Derek Sanders, a great position defensive rebound. Down low, Hollifield, the right-hander, went baseline, missed the shot, but drew the foul. Second foul on Radunovich.
It was a good first step, a good quick move when he got the basketball. That's what enabled him to beat the defensive man and draw the foul.
Clint Normore and Steve Greer both back in the ballgame for the Shockers, but again, watch the quick move. Hollifield right in front of you.
You see it? There's the quickness with the first step. That's what you want to do. When you get in there, power up inside. Be sure you get the shot off.
Hollifield only 2 of 4 this afternoon from the line. Now 3 of 5, 9 points for the sophomore. Cracked the Redbird lineup at the end of last season, and he's pretty much been there ever since. And our second lane violation of the ballgame, both on Wichita State.
It's the second time that Illinois State has gone back to the free throw line to shoot a free throw that they missed as a result of a lane violation.
Tony Hollifield, though, unable to make the Shockers pay. Derek Sanders a chance on the follow, but no good.
Great effort by Sanders.
Greer, open right wing. Too strong in the shot. Followed it, though, and got her down. 4 points for the freshman out of Macon, Georgia. Greer playing with much more confidence these last 2 or 3 ball games down the stretch. With Peterson. Still on the dribble. Greer on him. Gave it up. Actually bounced off Woody Mayfield, one of the officials, and out of bounds. So it'll be Shocker ball. 13 turnovers for the Redbirds.
I'll tell you, credit Steve Greer with very good defensive pressure on the passer that time. He had a lot to do with causing that basketball to go out of bounds.
Bounce pass inside. The whistle well before the shot. Second foul on Cliff Peterson. As for the team foul situation, 3 now on the Redbirds, only 1 on the Shockers. Right through the fingers of Santos and out of bounds. So it'll be Redbird ball. The Shockers turn it over for the 13th time. Lots of fouls, lots of turnovers.
Illinois State doing a good job of D'ing it up, not only in the first half, but here so far in the second half. Good defensive job.
Jeff Harris, the Shockers dropped off him, left in the open shot. The battle is on. Santos snared the loose one for Wichita State. Illinois State leads it, though. William Anderson tipped it out of bounds. Gene Smithson up off the bench. Neither Smithson nor that man, Bob Donewald, have ever had a losing season as a head coach.
It's a real tribute to both of them. There's a good pass inside there. See the defensive pressure that was there.
Lou Hill on the follow, though. Right place, right time. 8 points for the junior out of Mount Vernon, New York. And the Shockers creeping back in now within 5. 15-40 remaining to play, second half. Anderson lost the handle. It's tipped away, though, by the Shockers. Illinois State will keep it.
Gus Santos trying to communicate with the official that they're moving when they set those picks and screens. We'll see if that plea on his part works. Harris needs to get the ball out of the corner. You want to be careful there.
And the foul will be on Lou Hill.
Gene Smithson not very happy about that call.
Well, he's smiling, but not because he's happy.
Let's look at it and see. I don't know. Pretty good position by Hill. I think that's a charge. I don't think you can back out of there.
And Lou Hill has the inauspicious honor of being the first player to collect his 4th foul. So he'll have to check out of the ball game. You see Gary Cundiff back in for the Shockers.
Coach Smithson not, I'm sure, happy about having to play without that young man.
Again, Hill had 22 Saturday against Creighton. Oh, the block inside.
Good quick block that time.
Santos double team, took it inside anyway. Greer, no basket. But Steve Greer was fouled in the play as he went for the offensive rebound. 3rd foul on Derek Sanders.
You see the offensive rebound there by Greer, number 20. They called the foul while he was still on the ground. The official, Bill Rising out of Peoria, made the call with authority. Wichita State will get it out of bounds.
Santos, quick release. Missed the shot, but will go to the line again to shoot 2.
It's one thing you have to do inside against Illinois State. If you're going to shoot it inside against the Redbirds, you have to shoot it right now. If you give that defense any chance to drop down at all, I mean, they'll be there. You just can't wait.
And I'll tell you why the pained expression on Bob Donewald's face when you see Matt Taphorn back in the ballgame, because Derek Sanders will have to check out with his 4th foul. So Lou Hill has company. Gus Santos 2 of 2 this afternoon from the line. Now has his first point of the second half to go with 8 before the intermission. Gus finished with a flurry despite that 7 points back on Saturday. He missed the second one. Over his last 9 games, Santos been averaging 17 a game, shooting 60% from the field. And he had a big ball game in Normal against these Redbirds. 21 points, 12 rebounds. Jeff Harris, ball faking.
Good job by Cundiff for getting to Harris that time.
Anderson split the seam in the defense, took it inside strong and drew the foul.
Anderson, a strong player himself. You'll see it right here. There's a good look at him. He splits the seam there, as Mark mentioned, between Grayer and Normore, and you can't play defense that way. You must move your feet. The game is synonymous with the word position. You get there by moving your feet. You must have position on the board. You must have position defensively.
William Anderson at the line. And the decision, at least for now, is to leave Clint Normore in the ballgame with 4 fouls. William Anderson now with 11 points.
Hill on the bench with 4 fouls. Normore in the game with 4 fouls. Derek Sanders for Illinois State on the bench with 4 fouls.
William Anderson now with 12 points, and all those fouls beginning to pile up, and we still have 14:36 remaining to play in this one. Illinois State leads it 45-39. Back in a minute.
Today, Maria Coletti will make her father's favorite Italian pie for the very first time. An age-old family recipe that includes one rather special ingredient, meatballs. At Pizza Hut, we are proud to introduce our own version of this classic. We call it Priazzo Verona Italian Pie. Perhaps today will be your first time, too.
This but's for all that you do. You keep America going. You keep the juices flowing. You are the muscle, the hope and the hustle. You keep the country growing, and you make America work, and this but's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This but's for you.
An individual retirement account from Kansas State Bank and Trust Company will protect you 12 ways. Not only does KSB&T pay high rates compounded daily, but there are no charges or fees for an IRA at KSB&T, and your money is insured safe. And when you open your IRA at KSB&T, you'll get a free umbrella. Aren't those enough reasons for opening your IRA at D-Bank?
Take it to the bank. KSB&T, the bank that's making dreams come true.
14 minutes, 36 seconds remaining to play in the second half. Illinois State continuing to lead the Wichita State Shockers. 45-39 our score, and the fouls really beginning to pile up.
Well, they sure are, Mark, and for Wichita State, the same old problem cropping into the game right now. You know, I don't know whether it's going to continue that way, but 3 out of 10 for Wichita State. Illinois State, 2 out of 4, and you certainly want to shoot better than that. Free throw shooting 2 out of 3 for the Shockers, 3 of 4 for the Illinois State Redbirds.
Wichita State ball as we resume play here in the second half. Curtis Bailey looped it inside.
Look at the defense. Look at the defensive pressure right there.
2-3 men all around you. Matt Taphorn kept it alive. Bailey, like a jumping jack, up and down. He's got 4.
Bailey did a good job of keeping the ball up in the air and not bringing it down. Anderson trying to draw a foul right there.
Tony Hollifield, that fadeaway, he hit one in the first half, missed that one. Shockers quickly down the floor. Steve Grayer, good ball movement, outside, inside.
And you see, because it happened quickly and the man inside went up quickly to shoot the shot, the defense didn't have a chance to come down on him, and that's what I was alluding to earlier. If you're going to do something with the ball inside against Illinois State, you need to do it right now.
Cedric Coleman really hawking on William Anderson on the defense man. And Cundiff reaching in. Collects his second foul as Big Bill Braxic now checks back into the ball game for Illinois State.
Let's see if Wichita State tries to take the basketball right at Braxic because of his foul situation. I think he's being bothered somewhat by the flu a little bit. The way he was dragging out there in the first half, he has to be not 100% physically.
There they have it inside to Braxic. Just off the mark on the turn. Braxic likes that shot.
That's a good shot. From a coaching standpoint, you're never unhappy when your team gets the ball in that close and a 7-footer gets a shot.
Wichita State, an opportunity there, and Santos missed it off the glass. And Anderson converts the layup at the other end. He now has 14. Bob, that's big. Wichita State had a chance to tie. Now they trail by again by 4.
Gus forced it a little bit at the other end of the floor, certainly, but Anderson used his head when he got away on the break. He did not try to go up and dunk the ball.
Plenty of contact inside, but of course that's no surprise. 4 fouls on Tony Hollifield now.
Could be some young, inexperienced players finishing this game up today in the last 5 minutes.
Well, maybe sooner than that. We still have 12:44 to play. Shockers continuing to try to jam the ball inside. Steve Greer, 8 points.
There's a young man that back when we opened up the season against Oregon State and Fresno State for Wichita, he was playing a guard.
William Anderson shows you a little bit about guard play. Great penetration off the glass. He has 16. That'll make him the leading scorer in the ball game right now. Again, they look to Greer inside. Bill Broxson took it away. Wichita State's 15th turnover. Illinois State trying to build on their 49-45 lead. Anderson hung in the air. No call there. Shockers come the other way.
Wichita State with 15 turnovers already in the basketball game. Their average for the year, 15, and we still have 11.5 minutes to play, so that's really hurt them here today. But yet they continue to hang in there. It's a 4-point game, 49-45. It's a good basketball game.
The Shockers now with 16 turnovers. Giving the ball back to Illinois State. Lou Hill back in the ball game for the Shockers. Remember, playing with 4 fouls, and Bob Donewall will counter with Todd Starks. So he will likely match up on Hill. There's Starks back in.
Trainer Bob Keefe applying some tape to what is obviously a jammed thumb for William Anderson, who's played so well for Illinois State here today. I'll tell you what, Bob Keefe will get that young man back in a game. He is one of the finest trainers around.
Jeff Harris, a rare miss off the heel. 3 or 4 bodies crashing for the rebound. The foul will be on Taphorn. And that is now 4 fouls on Matt Taphorn. So we have 5 players now in the ball game with 4 fouls.
See if we can pick that foul up. There's Taphorn right there. Cundiff took a pretty good shot. Taphorn going after the basketball. Made contact, draws that 4th foul. Look at there. Hill and Normore with 4 fouls each for Wichita State. Hollifield, Sanders, and Taphorn. Key players for Illinois State, all with 4 fouls.
And again, just to emphasize how big that is, we still have 11 minutes and 23 seconds left to play in this ball game. Free throw shooting in the benches really could be the story.
I'll tell you what, we're sitting over here trying to do this game on television. Mark, you've got 2 fouls, and I've got 3. Everybody in the place has got fouls today.
Gary Cundiff now with 3 points. Cundiff a 60% free throw shooter on the season. 100% today, though, as you see. Cundiff now with 4 points, all of them from the charity stripe. That has the Shockers back within 2.
The motivation is so great to win today, because if you don't, you put the uniforms away. It's all over.
Jeff Harris open, made the Shockers pay.
These 2 teams are not going to postseason tournament unless they win this Valley tournament here in Tulsa.
Illinois State doesn't go. It won't be because of Jeff Harris. He now has 16 points. Shockers have now pulled within 2 a couple of times, but Illinois State has turned them away, and now we get a foul.
Definite contact in there by Jeff Harris that time. Greer tried to come across the lane and just got nailed.
3rd foul on Jeff Harris. Steve Greer at the line now for Wichita State. Greer, a 58% free throw shooter overall, 61 in Valley play, a high school All-American and the Georgia Player of the Year last year. Missed the first one.
Oh, that hurts when you're within 4 points. You get a chance to shoot a couple of free throws, the front end of a one-on-one, and you miss it.
As we mentioned, though, Wichita State's percentage-wise the poorest free throw shooting team in the Valley, and that has hurt them at times throughout the season, as you might imagine. William Anderson back in, showing no ill effects of that sprained thumb.
Oh, has he played well.
Trying to make it 4 trips to the NCAA tournament is William Anderson. He now is 18, and now he takes over game scoring honors.
Greer working hard inside against Taphorn. He'd like to have the basketball down there. They forced it into him a little bit. You got to let the ball do the work. You must move the basketball and then let the man inside pin the defensive player.
Harris, the ball fake, he'll back it out.
I'm not sure most people understand what I mean when I say let the ball do the work. What I mean is movement. That's a big basket for that young man.
Bill Braxic now 4 points. Bob, I get the feeling we're in a key stretch in the ball game. Wichita State was within 2. Now all of a sudden it's 55-47 Illinois State.
Very definitely, Mark. I agree with you.
Radunovic trying to stop the bleeding. Took it inside, drew the foul.
I think that's 4 now on Braxic, and 3 of those 4 fouls, we'll see it right here, were committed by Braxic when an offensive man had him outside and was able to take him one-on-one to the hole.
It is indeed the 3rd foul on Bill Braxic. Curtis Bailey back in the ballgame for the Shockers. He'll replace Gus Santos. Team foul-wise, Illinois State has long ago exceeded the 7 limit. Wichita State, though, with only 4 team fouls. So they still have 2 to give before Illinois State will go into the bonus. At the line, Radunovic 4 of 5 this afternoon. Has not scored in the second half. All 8 of his points coming in the first half. A sophomore, 21 years old, though.
You saw Radunovic look over to the bench after a missed free throw. I don't think coaches ever like that. You look over there like, you know, as a coach, you look back and say, what do you want me to do, young man? I can't shoot it for you. You got to stick it yourself, son.
Radunovic got the second. He now has 9 points, but that simply gets the Shockers back to within 7. Illinois State leads it 55-48, 9:12 to go. Again, the winner of this one will play the Bradley Braves tomorrow night in the semifinals. Right now, it looks like it might be the Illinois State Redbirds as they lead by 7 with 9:12 remaining to play in the second half, and they continue to shoot the ball very well. They were better than 60% in the first half, and they're 54 here in the second half.
Now, they've had a little bit better shot selection, and when you shoot well, you can always tie it to that, certainly. Wichita State, 7 out of 15 here in the second half for 46.6%.
Redbird basketball as we resume here. And they've got it on Radunovic. Hanging on Bill Braxic. 3rd foul on Sasha.
Yeah, the contact was down low with the body. I think there might have been an elbow earlier thrown, but, you know, it's that same old thing. When you retaliate, you're the guy that gets the foul. The guy that might have initiated it got away with it.
Yeah, more often than not, they'll catch the second one. Braxic, good job coming to the ball. Had it knocked away by Radunovic.
Good job by Sasha.
2-on-1
nice
opportunity.
Pass.
Gary Cundiff the layup.
There's a guy, 6'7", goes the length of the floor with a dribble, makes a good assist pass. Cundiff gets an easy 2-pointer.
By 6'9".
Is he? Good job.
Runs the floor very well. Radunovic played guard for most of his career until he got to be that tall, and they finally moved him inside. Anderson, no good from the right baseline. Taphorn on the offensive glass, no good. Lou Hill beat Hollifield to the ball. Another break opportunity for the Shockers. Steve Greer.
I believe that's Taphorn's 5th foul if it's on him. You just can't miss shots like this. You got to go up strong. As big as Greer is and as well as he jumps, he ought to be taking that ball up, trying to dunk it right there. You saw the foul committed by Taphorn. He's out of the basketball game. That's his 5th.
Taphorn fouling out with 8 minutes and 10 seconds left to play. I'll tell you, Smithson also very upset.
He really is.
Even though he got the foul on Taphorn, what he might, I'm not sure because we're at the other end, but I noticed the backboard and the rim vibrating. He might have been wondering whether or not that basket should have counted, because as the ball was hanging on the rim for Greer, it rolled off partially, I think, because of the vibration of the rim and the backboard.
We see Woody Mayfield, the official, talking with Bob Donewald right there. The 30 seconds is in effect. Coach Donewald, with a player fouling out, has 30 seconds to make a substitution. Down at the other end of the floor, we see Coach Smithson discussing some things with Bill Rising.
Well, that's a great shot right there.
Yeah, it must have been a joke. Bill Rising turned around, had a smile on his face, still has a smile on his face.
Very good camera work down in the baseline.
Now that conversation was picked up down there. Bill Rising bowed out of it, and Gene Smithson continued his conversation with Ed Hightower, the other official.
Steve Greer at the line. By the way, Cliff Peterson is in the ball game to replace the disqualified Matt Taphorn. Greer.
Oh, he rolled it around, but it did go in. These are so big.
7 of his 9 points have come here in the second half. Big miss, though, for Greer.
They're behind right now because of free throw shooting. Wichita State, that is.
But if you've watched the Shockers throughout the season, that should come as no great surprise. You get into tournament play, those are the things that'll really jump up and grab you. Cliff Peterson just back in the game, missing the shot, but was fouled by Steve Greer. Only the first foul on Greer. Where's he been? How can you have 1 foul?
And that's not one you want to commit. When you get a guy outside and you've got an opportunity to pressure his outside shot, he's shooting the ball there from probably about 18 feet. For heaven's sakes, don't foul him and then let him shoot a couple of free throws from the free throw line 15 feet away when you can't play defense against him.
Cliff Peterson is 70% free throw shooter, 71 in Valley play, missing there. We'll get the second foul in the active shooting. We ought to mention as well that Gus Santos is back in the ball game for the Shockers. Peterson now with 3 points.
See if that little rest helps Santos down the stretch here. You would think that it would.
7:40 remaining to play in the second half. Illinois State leads at 56-51. Lou Hill backing in on Anderson, forced that shot. And Radunovich climbed the back, and that's his 4th foul.
As I've said before, that will not work against a player. Well, it won't work against most players. Definitely it will not work against a player as big as Braxic. You can't go over the back. You see the shot right there by Lou Hill. Here's Sasha going over the top, makes contact. The official's going to call that foul every time. If you go straight up over him and don't touch him at all, more often than not, the foul will be called.
Radunovich out for the time being with those 4 fouls. Curtis Bailey is right back in the game to replace him. Bill Braxic, a 61% free throw shooter on the season, only 57% in Valley play. Those stats are down from what he shot in previous seasons, and a big miss there.
Both teams struggling at the free throw line here. Look at the concentration on Santos inside by Illinois State. That's because of the outstanding game he had in Bloomington against the Redbirds.
They've got it on Braxic.
I think that's his 4th. I stated the last time that that was his 4th, but it was only his 3rd.
Might have heard Bob Donewald in the background. Both coaches have had plenty to say this afternoon. It's been kind of enjoyable. We've had a good seat down here.
The purpose being to help those guys out there. They're just trying to be of assistance, Mark.
Gus Santos at the line.
Oh, boy, that's so frustrating for Coach Smithson. You can't get back into it if you keep stopping your own momentum by missing free throws. Good defensive job by Wichita State. Close to a 5-second violation.
It really was. Cliff Peterson passing the ball just at the last minute. Steve Greer got a hand on it. Tony Hollifield right there to reclaim it for the Redbirds.
I'll tell you, the official Ed Hightower really eyeing Coach Smithson on that Wichita State bench.
The foul, I believe, is on Lou Hill, and that would be his 5th. Lou Hill fouling out of the game with 6:37 to go.
Let's see if we can pick the foul up. We see the penetration there. Hightower just did not think he was set enough. He got his feet there, and then he tried to lean in a little bit, bent that leg and that knee, and tell you what, that guy there can shoot free throws.
Tell me about it.
Both teams may be having a problem shooting them here in the second half, but no question about Anderson being able to hit them.
19 points for the senior out of Indianapolis. Clint Normore is in, replacing Lou Hill. Now let's watch William Anderson. What makes him such a good free throw shooter?
He does the same thing every time. He doesn't back out of there too early. He has good extension, good release. The basketball leaves his hand well. Look at the full extension of the right arm. Good follow through.
Boy, perfect balance too. He's not leaning forward or back. John Pemberton back in the ball game for Illinois State.
Anderson, the key player in this game. He's been the difference for Illinois State.
And we'll name the Pizza Hut player of the game. Following the action, in and out for Curtis Bailey. Illinois State, their ball. They have rebuilt a 7-point advantage. Getting down to crunch time now, 6:15 to go. Hollifield went for the jam. Oh, he hit the floor like a ton of bricks. Hope he's okay.
He's all right. It's time to take a rest. This late in the game when you go down. Look at that interior pass by Anderson. That's an excellent pass. Hollifield wheels just like he should. He stayed down because he was unhappy he didn't get the ball in the basket.
Second foul on Curtis Bailey. And Gene Smithson has called a timeout. It comes with 6:16 remaining to play in this one. Illinois State leads it 58-51. Back to Tulsa after this timeout.
Today, Maria Coletti will make her father's favorite Italian pie for the very first time. An age-old family recipe that includes one rather special ingredient, meatballs. At Pizza Hut, we are proud to introduce our own version of this classic. We call it Priazzo Verona Italian Pie. Perhaps today will be your first time, too.
This Bud's for all that you do.
They said this city was through. You said, no way.
Each day the spirit's growing. Your pride is really showing. You make America work, and this Bud's for you.
Here's to you. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This Bud's for you.
An individual retirement account from Kansas State Bank and Trust Company will protect you 12 ways. Not only does KSB&T pay high rates compounded daily, but there are no charges or fees for an IRA at KSB&T, and your money is insured safe. And when you open your IRA at KSB&T, you'll get a free umbrella. Aren't those enough reasons for opening your IRA at D-Bank?
Take it to the bank. KSB&T, the bank that's making dreams come true.
Mark Allen and Bob Ortigo welcoming you back to Tulsa. Illinois State leads it by 7. And we're getting right down to the time of decision, 6:16 remaining to play here in the second half. Bob Donewald, you know, his Redbirds have had 15 straight winning seasons, 3 straight trips to the NCAA tournament. The Shockers, of course, have had 6 straight winning seasons. One of those 2 streaks will end here this afternoon because the loser will finish 14-14. Hollifield at the line.
I'll tell you, since Illinois State went Division I under the direction of then athletic director Dr. Milt Weisbecker, they have just put together an outstanding basketball program. They've got good basketball tradition. Even prior to that, they had it. They've made quite a contribution in the area of Division I basketball.
Hollifield now with 11 points.
And, of course, Wichita State, let's face it, has been doing that for a long time. They've had some great players at that institution.
Well, I think they caught Pemberton. That'll be his second foul. Both teams now in the bonus. We'll remind you, National Car Rental is the official car rental agency for the Missouri Valley Game of the Week crew. Enjoy the national attention we get, and we'd recommend National Car Rental to you because you deserve national attention.
Mark, I wouldn't be surprised here if we saw a little defensive pressure. If Grayer gets the free throw down, they did huddle, got together at the free throw line, and that's normally what that's all about.
Steve Grayer double figures now with 10 points.
6 minutes to play, 6:05 on the clock, down 8 points. You can't press if you don't score.
And it's hard to win if you don't hit free throws. Inside 6 minutes now. William Anderson. Oh, what a ball game he is having. 22 points. Again, the only senior, boy, the experience rising to the top here in tournament play, isn't it, Bob?
Well, he came off the bench and hit his first 2 shots.
Radunovich, air ball. Bailey right there to follow, no good.
Good rebound by Bailey, and then he missed the easy layup inside. When you miss free throws and you miss shots like that, it's just hard to win.
Tony Hollifield, count the 2, and he was fouled, and this could be the big run that might win it for the Redbirds.
You know, Mark, I think there's a motivation factor here that Illinois State possesses right now that needs to be mentioned. I really believe they want to play Bradley tomorrow night. That's such a great rivalry, that Bradley-Illinois State. You know, there's 34 miles between the two schools. And I think that's very much a motivating factor for them. It's kind of like the great rivalry that exists between Wichita State and Tulsa.
Hollifield, that three-point play. It remains to be seen how big it will be, but I have a hunch it might be very big. As Illinois State now leads it by 13 with 5:10 to go.
And they will begin to milk the clock now, and they'll do that well. They're a pretty good disciplined team.
Clint Normore trying to get something going, missed from the right baseline. Radunovich kept it alive inside. Grayer. Oh, there's a lid on the basket for the Shockers and a foul as well.
You see, Grayer had a good shot. It doesn't go down, and the whole thing gets compounded by the fact that now we commit a foul.
And Clint Normore is fouled out of the game.
From a coaching standpoint, when I say we, I'm not referring to any particular team, but I'm talking from a coach's standpoint. That's what happens. You know, we end up doing this only because we don't shoot the basketball well. You don't make free throws and you miss good high percentage shots, and then compound the issue by drawing a foul. What your opponent does is he walks 94 feet to the other end of the floor, takes the ball at the free throw line, and how do you play defense against that?
As we told you, Clint Normore fouling out of the game. Dwight Prala was in to replace him at the line. Cliff Peterson missed the front end of a 1-and-1. So the free throw shooting has not been anything to behold here this afternoon.
Certainly is time for Wichita State. They're going to have to get it going and get it going right now.
Radunovich. Boy, they've got Santos just sandwiched inside. Illinois State making it virtually impossible for Wichita State to pass the ball inside. So Santos drives inside and drew the foul. Only the first foul on William Anderson. Boy, think of that. 22 points, and that's just his first foul.
We see Cundiff with the pass over there to Santos, and Gus makes the move on the baseline, beating the defensive man, takes it up gets fouled, and you see Wichita State get together there at the free throw line, you can expect defensive pressure with 4:22 on the clock, and they're down 13 points.
You see Bill Braxic back in the ball game for Illinois State at the line. Gus Santos only 3 of 5 this afternoon from the line. That'll give him double figures now, 23rd time in 28 games. On the afternoon, Gus now 4 of 6. An honorable mention all-conference selection this season. Santos now with 11. Illinois State ball, time on their side. 4:19 to go. They lead by 11.
There's the pressure we talked about, and that's the guy you want to have the basketball, William Anderson.
Now, if you're Illinois State, you want to be aware of that 45-second clock and use probably as much of it as you can. Harris inside, no shot. The foul on Dwight Prelo, only his first. Pemberton back in the ball game, replacing Braxic. Looks like Donewald is going with some situation substituting with Pemberton and Braxic.
He certainly is, and I also think it goes back to the fact I'm not sure that Braxic feels well. No one has told me that, but just the way he's reacting out there.
Jeff Harris, that's 16 points, a new career high for him. He'll try to add to it right here.
He really helped Illinois State early in the first half when he played well, hit some shots outside. I think, you know, we talked about guard play being a problem for both teams, but the guard play here for Illinois State today has been better than the guard play for Wichita State. Anderson and Harris have just had good ball games.
Harris missing the second one, will hold at 17 points. Wichita State looking for the quick shot. They get it from Radunovic, who has 11.
And full court pressure, as you would expect.
3:40 to go. Anderson, the dribble drive in the paint. Redbirds kick it back out.
They really need to use the clock now.
And Cundiff, they caught him holding William Anderson. Third foul on Gary Cundiff. Gene Smithson along the Shocker bench. Looks like he'll get Cedric Coleman back in the ball game.
It's been a frustrating year for Coach Smithson and Coach Donewald. They've worked awfully hard, but they're just, you know, they're working with the young players. They've lost great players off their respective teams from a year ago, and you just don't replace a McDaniel and a Sherrod. And you just don't replace a Brad Duncan and a McKinney and a Ricky Johnson. You don't do that.
William Anderson, a rare miss for him from the line. Those of you tuning in to watch regular programming at 5, our ball game running a bit long. We'll join that programming immediately following the conclusion of this one. Gus Santos now with 13 points. Shockers all over the place in the backcourt.
Making a real, that's a charge there. That's pretty good defensive position on Greer. I disagree with that. There was a no call.
Out top to William Anderson, 30 seconds on the shot clock. Inside 3 minutes to play in the second half. Anderson simply lost control of the dribble.
Wichita State's doing a great job of trying to get back in it here.
Need the quick good shot. That's a push from behind on Pemberton. His third foul.
That's not something you want to do when you have an 8-point lead. You don't want to stop the clock and put your opponent at the free throw line. Wichita State, I'll tell you, absolutely down 13 points, did not give up, trying to get themselves back in this thing.
Pemberton out of the ball game. Braxic back in, and Bob Donewald has just now reinserted Derek Sanders back into the ball game as well. Remember, Sanders playing with 4 fouls. It's going to be Radunovic at the line for the Shockers.
Oh, he gets them down. They can press again. They're only down 6 points.
Radunovic now with a dozen, double figures in 8 of his last 9 games, so he is also finishing with a flurry, an honorable mention pick in this his first season in the Missouri Valley Conference. Sasha got them both now with 13. The Shockers pressing, and they may have life after all. The Redbirds inbound. Anderson. Oh, the blocking foul on Radunovic. He'll foul out of the game with 2:42 to go.
Here's Anderson with the penetration. There's Sasha right there. Radunovic moved over, tried to draw the charge. It was called a block, though. That's his 5th foul. He's out of the basketball game. You can bet that Wichita State will miss that young man. He just plays so hard. Gives you the great effort all the time.
And the rest of the bad news for Shocker fans is you've got William Anderson back at the line. Curtis Bailey is the choice to replace Radunovic. Bob Donewald also getting Cliff Peterson back in his lineup to replace Braxic.
I'll tell you how much confidence Coach Donewald has in Anderson at the line. With 2 minutes and 42 seconds left in the game, he has taken everybody off of the free throw line for several reasons. Number one, he doesn't want him to commit a foul going for the rebound, but that's not the real reason. The reason is that he just believes that Anderson's going to make every free throw he shoots, and statistics are indicative of the fact that may be true, Mark.
Anderson, again, 91% on this season. He is 10 of 12 this afternoon from the line, and if you thought we've had a lot of fouls, you're right. I didn't realize we'd had that many.
A tournament record, 54 fouls, and the game's not over. You know, we talked 5 minutes into the game, we were talking about how physical it was, how rough it was.
Dwight Prelo, his first 2 at the other end. Now Illinois State, Shockers pressuring on defense. 2:15 to go. Redbirds lead it by 6. Stolen away. Cedric Coleman will go and get it. First 2 for the sophomore. And all of a sudden, it's a 4-point game. Shockers pressure in the backcourt. Cedric Coleman was moving. His 2nd foul.
I'll tell you what, Illinois State's having problems taking advantage of the clock with that 13-point lead. They just have not executed that offense well at all.
That's an excellent point. Very good point.
They've come away from their normal offense with a 13-point lead, trying to run more time off the clock before they shoot the ball. They've had problems executing that facet of the game. That's a little bit unlike a Bob Donewald team.
Jeff Harris won in the bonus. Missed the front end.
Look out, gang. Here we go. 4-point basketball game.
Gene Smithson burns a timeout. As his Shockers are right back in this ball game. With 1:48 remaining to play, Illinois State leads it, but only by a margin of 68-64. Back after these local messages.
It gets confusing when you're ready to buy a new car. Shapes, styles, names, and dealerships blend together. Before you make a decision, you're looking for a Major Difference. And here he is, Major Difference, alive and well at Robinson-Lessline Buick. The Major Difference is the treatment you'll receive from the professionals at Robinson-Lessline Buick. Robinson-Lessline Buick, tucked away from the rush at 1501 East 1st Street, where you'll discover a major difference in every car.
Miss Manners, Judith Martin on Manners.
The etiquette problem of our day is not how to eat an artichoke. Artichoke has prickles, it can defend itself. The problem is, what do you do when your friends start telling you that you're too fat and the person you're in love with is a jerk?
On PM Magazine, Mondays and Wednesdays at 6:30.
Bordigo welcoming you back to downtown Tulsa. Only 1 minute and 48 seconds remaining to play here in the second half. And all of a sudden, we've got us a basketball game.
You know, Mark, I mentioned the fact that I thought that Illinois State had that little extra motivation in terms of wanting so badly to play Bradley. Let's give Wichita State some real credit because of the way they've responded when they got down by 13. They obviously are not ready to put those basketball uniforms away, and they've just had a heck of a comeback.
You saw the timeout stat. Wichita State with only 1 remaining, and we still have 1:48 to play, so that could be key.
Yeah, Wichita State with 1, and the Redbirds have 4 left.
You're wondering how Wichita State has gotten back into this ball game. Part of the reason, Illinois State is 1 of 8 on the front ends of 1-and-1s in this ball game. That's a big stat. Shocker ball. They can pull within 2 with a bucket here. Santos off the glass. Will shoot 2.
I'll tell you what, everybody knew where Wichita State wanted to go with the ball.
Everybody. I'll tell you, Illinois State knew. Did you see him come down hard on Santos? Watch this. Watch the defensive pressure on Santos. Look at it right there. He's in a triangle. A triangle closes on him right there, and he still gets the shot off, which is what you want to do.
Tony Hollifield joins the club. He fouls out with 1:39 to go. Braxic in to replace him, and for the first time this afternoon, we'll see Mark Kratz, the 6'1 freshman guard out of Allen Park, Michigan.
I think Coach Donewall is going to use one of those timeouts. We heard him call for it right now. Making those substitutions, he wants to talk a little bit about what's going to happen if Santos misses the free throws. He also wants to talk a little bit about the fact that should Santos make the free throws, you can expect the defensive pressure from Wichita State, which has been a factor here. They've done a good job with that. And then he wants to talk a little bit, I'm sure, about trying to use some time off the clock, which Illinois State has not done well.
And he wants to give Gus Santos something to think about, some time to think it over before he goes to the line.
Yes, he does. These are a couple of very big free throws, of course, with the score 68-64 in favor of Illinois State, and a minute 39 on the clock. This is just the kind of tournament this is going to be. We had an excellent game the first time around. Bradley came away with a 6-point win, and this second game here between these two fine schools and teams has been unusually competitive, very physical. And I'm sure the two games tonight will be most interesting, too.
The final in game one, for those of you watching in Wichita who did not see the opener here this afternoon, Bradley a winner 61-55 over West Texas State. But West Texas State really gave one of the top-ranked teams in the country plenty to think about before finally falling by 6. They were right in the ballgame.
Yeah, they did. And as we talked about, it was the end of an era. West Texas State no longer a member of the Missouri Valley Conference and no longer playing Division I basketball. They start next year playing at the Division II level. But let's get back to this one here, and it's a dandy right now. And you talk about a couple of big free throws for Gus Santos and the Wichita State Shockers. Here they are, folks.
Gus Santos, 5 of 7 so far this afternoon from the line.
Coach Smithson just turns around, grabs the water bottle, and hangs his head. There's not much you can do.
Boy, those are two big misses for a veteran player, and a whistle as well. And the foul is on Wichita State.
We talked about that earlier. When Grayer missed a close-in shot and a foul was committed on the rebound situation, here, Wichita State misses 2 free throws and commits a foul on the rebound. Just becomes crucial. However, Illinois State has not responded well at the free throw line either, as we talked about. What was it, 1? They've made 1 free throw on the front end.
1 of 8.
Of 8
is what we had a moment ago.
Possibilities. That's
so here's Derek Sanders again with a 1 in the bonus situation. Another miss.
This is crazy. I mean, this is hard to believe.
1:33 to go. Shocker ball. Dwight Frelo hit it. And it's a 2-point Illinois State lead.
Very effective one-on-one move.
Dwight Frelo now with 4 points. Not that long ago, Illinois State led this ball game by 13. 65-52 was the margin. Since then, they have scored 3 points. That's all.
And they looked very much in control of the game. Wichita State, it's just a great comeback. Maybe the best comeback they've had all year, Mark.
Well, if you're Wichita State, now's the time. Derek Sanders, the reverse spin dribble. No basket, they wave it off.
I like the authority with which Ed Hightower, the official right there you see walking away, I like the authority with which he made that call. There's no question here. Sanders on the spin dribble. Bailey with the foul. The foul was called immediately. They said he was not shooting the basketball, and he wasn't. So he'll have to go back to the line where he missed the last time on the front end of a 1-and-1 and try it again.
Gary Cundiff back in the ballgame for the Shockers, replacing Cedric Coleman. Again, Bob Donewall has dropped the other 4 players back into the backcourt. Gene Smithson with all 5 of his on the free throw lane. This time Derek Sanders connecting on the front end of the 1-and-1. Only 5 points for the junior out of Chicago, but a big free throw there.
Well, that's a real big one. That's the odd point. Gives them a 5-point lead.
Well, they weren't pretty, but they went for Derek Sanders. He now has 6. The Redbirds back in front by 4. 43 seconds to go. The game clock now for you in the lower right corner. Greer blocked, but fouled by Braxton. He'll foul out of the game with 37 seconds to go. And again, if you're Illinois State, you certainly don't want to put Wichita State at the line, and you definitely don't want to stop the clock.
I would imagine that Coach Donewald may use a timeout here.
He has 3 remaining.
Not a good afternoon for Braxic. 4 points, 2 rebounds. Coach Donewald talking with Bill Rising, wanting to use as much of the 30 seconds as he can. Does not want to take the timeout. Greer standing at the free throw line. The young man ought to back off the free throw line. Illinois State does not have to make the substitution until 30 seconds after the official signals that the 30 seconds begins here at the scorer's table.
Mark Kratz is the choice to replace Bill Braxic in the ball game. We saw Kratz briefly.
Now you want to take the timeout. Before the ball is given to the free throw shooter, you can't call it after the ball is given to the free throw shooter. So Coach Donewald not only used the 30 seconds per the rule book, he came right back and called the timeout so that he'd have the additional time to talk to his team and certainly put a little pressure on the shooter.
I'm sure the fact that Steve Greer is only a freshman was part of the reason for that decision, as you check the timeout situation now.
Illinois State still has 2 timeouts left to Wichita State's 1. A 4-point lead for Illinois State. Obviously, Coach Smithson has to cover a couple of things in his timeout. Number 1, what happens if we make the first free throw and miss the second? What happens if we make them both? They'll obviously press. What happens if we miss the first one? They're going to have to foul and put Illinois State at the free throw line. They cannot allow time to run off the clock. The shot clock, 45-second shot clock, has been turned off. There are only 37 seconds left in the game.
The Foxglove Restaurant offers fresh seafood and aged select beef cooked to perfection. The Foxglove serves dinner nightly starting at 6 and is located at the Tulsa Marriott Hotel at 41st and Garnett. For reservations, call 627-5000. Both teams back out on the floor. Again, our score 70-66. Illinois State leads it by 4. 37 seconds to go. Steve Greer has now had what must seem like an eternity to think about this free throw. 2 shots. 2 of 3 this afternoon is Steve Greer. Well, that's a young man responding to the challenge right there. 11 points for Greer. Coleman back in the game replacing Bailey.
That's a defensive substitution by Coach Smithson right there. He wants a little more quickness, trying to draw the charge, trying to get the deflection in the recovery or the outright steal.
Steve Greer, the freshman, hitting free throws where others on both teams have failed.
And that's the guy you would want back in the ball game right now. Good substitution by Coach Donewald. Both these coaches doing an excellent job.
Jeff Harris with his outside shooting ability back in. Derek Sanders just beating the 5-second call, and now we get a foul on Wichita State. It is on Cedric Coleman.
That's okay. That's what you want to do. You're going to have to commit that foul right away. You don't want time to run off the clock. Coach Smithson now will come back with a rebounding substitution. Bailey back in the game just in case the free throw's missed.
Coleman, who committed the foul, his third, is now out of the game.
That's not as much of a factor, though, when Illinois State doesn't put anybody on the free throw lane. However, you've got him on the offensive board at the other end of the floor.
Bob Donewald also shuffling, has Pemberton back in the game. But this is Jeff Harris. 18 points now for him, 12 of those coming in the first half. But
boy, I thought Greer was in there early, Mark. It didn't make any difference because the free throw was made, but Greer tried to lunge across there. Couple of big ones.
Well, Jeff Harris matching Grayer's 2 free throws. That has the Redbirds back up by 4. Time winding down, 30 seconds. Grayer outside long. Derek Sanders a big rebound. A great outlet pass to William Anderson. Now he'll back it out. Wichita State will look to foul. They stop the clock with only 21 seconds to go.
Coach Donowald did not want Anderson to penetrate onto the basket. We don't, you know, he's trying to tell his teams at that point, gentlemen, we don't need any more points. That's what Illinois State is going to say, because all they want to do is run the time off the clock. Now they can go to the free throw line, and when you've got this guy at the line, it's like money in the bank.
And William Anderson just made another deposit. 24 points for this senior out of Indianapolis. Now 25 points for William Anderson. That's the game clock, lower right. Illinois State allowing Dwight Prelo to penetrate. He gets the 2. Gene Smithson will burn his final timeout with 15 seconds to play. So Dwight Prelo now with 6 points. All right, Bob. Let's put you back on the bench. 15 seconds left to play in the game. Illinois State ball. They lead by 4.
Okay, from a defensive standpoint, for Wichita State, one of the things you can do is you try to draw the charge with the ball still out of bounds. If you can not run any time off the clock by either having Illinois State not get the ball in bounds within 5 seconds, or draw the charge as they move to get open, that's the most advantageous thing that could happen for Wichita State. For Illinois State, the #1 goal is to get it in bounds, and I am sure you will see it come in bounds to good free throw shooters. Coach Donowald will do that very definitely. I would imagine he'd like for the ball to come in bounds if he had his choice to William Anderson or to Jeff Harris. One of the keys will be whether or not Wichita State pressures the ball out of bounds. You know, a lot of things that take place. I'm sure both these guys know exactly what they want their teams to do, and we'll just have to wait, read the situation, and cover it at that point. But I'll tell you, Wichita State would like to get the ball back and not have any time off the clock. Once it does come in bounds, they have no choice but to stop the clock by fouling immediately. But you don't want them to foul and have it be an intentional foul. You'd like for it to be a foul where Illinois State has to make the front end of a 1-and-1. And you can see both Harris, Anderson are in bounds because they're good free throw shooters. That's the guy you'd like to get it to.
Redbirds successfully getting the ball inbounds. The foul is on Cedric Coleman. His 4th foul. It does stop the clock with 11 seconds to go. And again, the subs, Pemberton and Bailey, back in the game. It's going to be 1 in the bonus. They did not rule it an intentional foul. But the Redbirds, a good job to get the ball into the hands of William Anderson, because that gets him right back at the line.
Well, the problem right now for Wichita State is that they can bring the ball down the floor very quickly, shoot it and score, but they can't stop the clock because they're out of timeouts, which really sort of puts the game out of reach if Anderson is able to convert both these free throws.
He has the first one. 26 points for William Anderson.
I do not believe he's missed from the free throw line today.
Anderson got them both. We understand he has set a new Valley Tournament record for free throws made in a game.
Boy, he's just a fine shooter. Illinois State uses up a timeout, has one remaining timeout right now with 11 seconds on the clock.
Bob, William Anderson this afternoon, 16 of 17 from the free throw line. So 16 of his.
I don't even remember him missing a free throw, Mark. That's not to say that he didn't, but when you make 16 out of 17, I guess you don't remember the miss. He's just been tremendous at the free throw line. He's also had some very big baskets in the course of the action that I think have really helped his basketball team.
And to take it all the way back to the beginning, in our pregame comments, we talked about the importance of whose young players would step in and handle the tournament pressure, but yet in the final outcome, I guess we find there's no substitute for experience in a player like William Anderson. When it comes down to it, the guys who've been there before are the guys who tend to get it done.
Well, we elaborated on the fact that there was only one senior on these two basketball teams, and that guy happens to be William Anderson, and who ends up being the determining factor, I think, in the outcome of this game, but William Anderson.
So Wichita State playing the final 10 seconds of their season. Dwight Prelo short on the shot. The rebound safely in the hands of Anderson. The whistle stops the clock with only 2 seconds to play, but this one's over now except for the celebration.
How about the matchup tomorrow night, Mark?
Well, it'll be sensational. We've only got 2 winners so far, and already we're talking about tomorrow night, but the early game should be a great one. Illinois State Bradley renewing their tremendous rivalry.
On a neutral floor with Bradley winning twice this year. If you want to go to a party, there'll be a lot of them in Peoria, Bloomington, and Normal tomorrow night. There'll be a lot of people getting together to sit down and watch that one.
William Anderson is now 16 of 17. We're informed. Gary Cundiff off the mark at the buzzer, and this one's over. And Gene Smithson and Bob Donoval will talk it over here right in front of us. Our final score, Illinois State wins it by a final of 78-70. With the victory, the Redbirds go to 15-13. And they advance to the semifinals. They'll play Bradley tomorrow night at 6:30. The Shockers are through. They finish the season at 14-14. Back to wrap this one up right after this timeout.
Rusty Eck Ford is up in the air with excitement.
Welcome back to Tulsa. Illinois State a winner, 78-70 over the Wichita State Shockers. Let's tell you, first of all, this afternoon's Pizza Hut player of the game is Sasha Radunovich. Unofficially 13 points, 5 rebounds, and Pizza Hut will be donating a $200 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund at Wichita State. Our congratulations to Sasha for being selected the Pizza Hut player of the game. So again, the final, Illinois State a winner, 78-70 over the Wichita State Shockers. All in all, Bob, a very good basketball game. Illinois State, they were the ones who finally got it done down the stretch, and now they get the rematch. You know they won it all along. They get Bradley tomorrow night.
Well, I think it's a tribute to Coach Donewald and Coach Smithson, who have had some disappointing losses this year. To be able to put things together and come back and play this game as competitively as they played it. There will not be a game in this tournament, I don't think, played any harder than this one, Mark. These two teams were ready to play. It was extremely physical. There were a lot of fouls, but, you know, that's what the game's all about. How badly do you want to win? And these two teams wanted to win badly today. Unfortunately, Wichita State's basketball season has come to a close. Illinois State will go on tomorrow against a fine Bradley team. That'll be a very great, interesting affair.
Illinois State could have made it a lot easier on themselves. Of course, they led it by 13 fairly late in the second half, really let that get away. What do you think finally wrapped it up and won it for them, and what lost it for Wichita State?
Well, I think the competitive factor for Wichita State brought them right back in the basketball game, and then they missed key free throws. And you just can't do that. That's what cost Wichita State the game. They missed some good high percentage shots in close. In addition, could not get their free throws down, and William Anderson, he was most impressive.
Anderson, the leading scorer in the ball game with 30 points, and he won it for the Illinois State Redbirds. Again, the final, Illinois State 78, Wichita State 70. The Shockers are through. The Redbirds advance to the semifinals. We'll have semifinal action for you tomorrow evening. For Bob Ortigal, Jerry Wetzel on stats, everybody on the crew, Mark Allen saying good afternoon from Tulsa.
This Missouri Valley postseason tournament game has been brought to you by
Budweiser, the king of beers. For all you do, this Bud's for you. By Kansas State Bank and Trust, making your dreams come true. By Pizza Hut, makers of Priazzo Italian Pie. And by the U.S. Army, a place to be all that you can be.
This Missouri Valley Conference postseason tournament game has been a presentation of SNI Sports Network of St. Louis.